Hey everyone, Charting Man Dan from ChartGuys.com. You know, behind every single video that we put out every single day, there's a wonderful community of traders that we want to invite you to be a part of. Try the free 7-day trial and gain access to our live market broadcasts every morning and afternoon, interact with hundreds of like-minded traders, or take part in one of our dedicated chat rooms, each led by an analyst that's there to answer your questions in real time. Our trial is risk-free with absolutely no commitment or credit card required to experience the TCG community. For those looking for a head start in technical analysis, check out our entries and exits course in the link below in the description. Get up to speed with the fundamentals of TCG technical analysis and experience over 5 hours of great community-driven trading education. Hey everyone, checking in on CMG VRX, Twitter, and GoPro on the daily and weekly time frame. So an indecision doji, which is also an inside bar for CMG on Friday, showing the range is consolidating. A doji at the top of an uptrend is a bearish reversal candlestick. But again, we've seen multiple bearish reversal candlesticks with no confirmation. We have CMG earnings Tuesday after the close, so definitely need to be aware of that. The bulls, if we get a bullish reaction, we're looking up to 500 and beyond. And if we get a bearish reaction, we're looking down to this consolidation low in the 445s, and the bulls really want to hold that 445 level. Otherwise, we're looking back down at 434, and that would really break this really strong uptrend that we have been seeing. So hard to imagine a bearish reaction for me personally with all the money that we've been seeing loading over the past 6 weeks. It's certainly possible, but I would put the odds in favor of the bulls, and we'll see if we can get that continuation. The weekly time frame is still extremely strong above the upper Bollinger Band, and not even close to losing that level. We have to update it on Monday to see where it's going to be. It'll probably be in the upper 470s, so it will require a bullish reaction to that inventory report in order to maintain that upper Bollinger Band as support. So resistances after 500 psychological, we've got 521 as the next level we'll be watching. And again, we are reversing the trend to favor the bulls on the weekly time frame. And it's been no looking back since that did occur. That break occurred at 440 when that became support. That's when the bulls turned things around. And here we are 10% above that level in just a few short weeks. VRX, you certainly know my sentiment at this point. I have been ripping apart this chart for weeks at this point, and it keeps getting worse. And we have a big increase in bear volume, an all-out dump, exponential resistance for weeks and weeks, and we just keep hitting lower lows. We're now looking at 836, then we'll look down at 8 psychological. There will be short-term bounces along the way. The RSI is down at 24, but certainly those short-term bounces are outweighed by the bearish reaction and the bearish momentum. So it's much easier to make money in VRX as a bear rather than waiting and trying to get these short-term bull moves to the upside. And it's an interesting psychological phenomenon because you see this happen time and time again with stocks like SUNE and DRYS, these stocks that are just getting absolutely torn apart and driven to the ground. You still have people trying to get these bounces, and I do believe that that's just because they're not comfortable playing short, which is fine. If you're not comfortable playing short, you can either, get your education game on and get more comfortable doing that with some paper trading to start off, or you can just find bullish plays and be looking for uptrends. But to try and play against this kind of trend is not a good idea in my opinion. We have not seen 2 green days in a row in a month at this point, and to try and get a bull move, really, we're seeing what? Bullish upside maybe 10% of the time compared to 90% of the downside. You're really just stacking the odds against you if you're trying to play bullish on a chart that looks like this. So the weekly time frame, extremely oversold as well, dumping, and there's just no turnaround in sight. Will there be quick bounces? Yes, there will be big time quick bounces as we see shorts covering and bulls buying the dip at the same time, but those bounce opportunities are just going to have bears all over it looking for another bearish entry. So we'll keep watching these daily exponential resistances, bears in full control. Twitter on the daily time frame continues to bounce and reject from this middle Bollinger Band. That's 3 days in a row to end the week. I keep saying we're waiting for this middle Bollinger Band to become support for some short-term upside. We have yet to close above it, so we're still right at that level. I've got resistance at 1479, 1475, 75, 78. So very clearly in the upper 1470s, there's resistance. This middle Bollinger Band has to become support. If it does not, we're looking at 1441 and 1412 as the support levels. The weekly time frame is a bullish reversal candlestick, and we did close above the 4-period exponential resistance, but only by 1 penny. Still, that's the first time we've closed above that level in over 2 months. The bulls will certainly take it at this point. Have to see a break of 1478 and 1479 early next week to be looking for a potential to confirm this bullish reversal candlestick and see a short-term bounce play out. And again, short-term is the key word because we are in a clear downtrend with the bears in full control. GoPro is getting very tight. I do like the setup here. There's going to be a nice trade, and it's either going to be a bull trade getting above the 100-day moving average resistance, which has rejected the price twice. That's at 905. I would be less likely to make that entry on a bull trade. I'm waiting for a bearish trade, and that's because of the longer-term weekly trend. Again, I want that trend in my favor. So the upper Bollinger Band resistance there as well is also another reason I would be less likely to make a bullish entry unless we were to see big-time volume behind it. So support right now with a bearish day. We pulled back after rejecting from the upper Bollinger Band and the 100-day moving average resistance. It's this middle Bollinger Band that's support. And on Monday, that's going to be right around 870, 871 or so. And if we lose that middle Bollinger Band, we will then have a lower high, and the higher low pattern will be in jeopardy. So it's a potential for a lower high and a lower low reversing this bounce. But again, only liking a bearish entry if we lose that middle Bollinger Band. Until that happens, the bulls still have the upper hand in the short term. The weekly time frame, rejecting from this middle Bollinger Band resistance for the second time. We did close over exponential resistance for the first time in almost 2 months at this point. But this middle Bollinger Band, obviously, if we can't get over it, we're not going anywhere, as that level is currently under $9, and it's going to drop down a few more pennies to start next week. So GoPro getting tight here. Lower high is in place. We're going to consolidate and look to form a higher low, and by mid to end of the week, we will see a nice setup for that tightening pattern breaking. So I appreciate you watching. Again, CMG earnings Tuesday after the bell. We'll check back in and see how that goes, and we will see you soon.